And guess what? For Sophie Rain, who is a proud resident of Florida, that means she's going to have to pay $42 million. $42 million to the state of Florida, which I'm going to use for two purposes. We're going to increase public school teacher pay, and we're going to improve school lunches, something that Michelle Obama promised and never got around to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the man himself. And I just got to say
damn, boy, it sucks because it's such a noble cause. Damn, that sucks. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna be on Sophie Rain's side, but bruh, man, low key on a mission to save lives, like. But I just feel like personally, you might be picking on a specific, group of people, and also not understanding that Sophie Rain is probably an anomaly. Like there's a lot of girls on OnlyFans that are barely making it by, and you're gonna take away from them. I don't know.
50%.
There's already such a big lack of jobs, and people gotta do what they can. He pulled the lives card. What's that?
For income tax on an OnlyFans girl, which would equate to $42 million for Sophie Rain if you believe she actually makes that much money. It's kind of crazy to me, I'm not gonna lie. And of course, Sophie Rain clapped back by saying targeting a group of individuals using their job to survive when there are multi-billion-dollar corrupt businesses that don't pay any taxes is insane.
Never in my whole life did I think that I would wake up and see a Florida politician trying to start beef with me for clout. So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government.
It's fun as goddamn. It said, what sound is this? This shit bumping, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. We're gonna keep that on. They said what genre is that, but I low-key feel like that's a little bit of what bruh made for four bats. But yeah, I paused there. You guys back? Y'all good? Y'all Gucci cologne? Alright, hopefully.
Did I think that I would wake up and see a Florida politician trying to start beef with me for clout? So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government.
That is crazy. A sin tax on bops is a wild statement. And yes, Sophie Rain.
Think about how like black people took the word nigga and made it our own. They did that with bops. That's hilarious.
Claims that she already pays 37% of her income tax proudly and says, and I quote, "I would be glad to pay more if big businesses weren't paying $0 in taxes." Followed by this image. You could pause the video and, read it yourself if you.
At least 55 of the largest corporations in America pay no federal corporate income taxes in their most recent fiscal year, despite enjoying substantial pre-tax profits in the United States. This continues a decade-long trend of corporate tax avoidance by the biggest U.S. corporations, and it appears to be the product of a long-standing tax break preserved or expanded by the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act TCJA for short, as well as the CARES Act tax breaks enacted in the spring of 2020. Oh, you just got all right. So let me go back a little bit for you.
So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government.
That is crazy. A sin tax on bops is a wild statement. And yes, Sophie Rain claims that she already pays 37% of her income tax proudly and says, and I quote, "I would be glad to pay more if big businesses weren't paying $0 in taxes." Followed by this image. You could pause the video and, you know, read it yourself if you want to. But yeah, this is nuts.
And I would be more than happy to pay that if multi-billion-dollar corporations were also being properly taxed. But surprise, they're not. I never usually get into politics, but there are clearly better ways to raise funds from actual corrupt businesses in our country. I think that people also fail to realize
they would then have to admit that they're corrupt. You feel me? It's like the fact that you're in, I would say, you know, X work. You're kind of admitting that it's, you know, it's not for everybody. It's, you know, it's a taboo thing. You're kind of already aware of that. But with it being they're doing this secretly, and the people that are doing this secretly are paying the people that are trying to tax you right now.
Realize that there are so many creators on this platform that do this job because they're struggling.
What if this how Sophie Rain becomes mayor? This is hilarious. What if this is how Sophie Rain becomes mayor? Sophie Rain for president. I'm voting. Sophie Rain for president. I'm voting for it. She obviously seems like she got a better head on her shoulder than a lot of people in government. I'm not gonna lie. When I say a better head on her shoulders, I'm not meaning that in a pun. I'm literally directly meaning I feel like she is smarter than a lot of people in government. I'm not gonna say books or whatever wise, but I'm gonna say she seems like she's more empathetic. We get a female president.